Take back control. Stop letting algorithms decide your news. Get uncensored history and real knowledge to strengthen your mind, body, and spirit. Watch ad-free content now at ineverknewtv.com. Do you believe the spirit of resistance, brilliance, courage, and resilience that defined Haiti's revolutionary past still lives in the DNA of Haitians today?
Absolutely. Dessalines gave us a memory and a motto. A revolutionary proclamation. Liberté ou la mort. Which is also the colors of our flag, freedom or death. But most importantly, coupe-tête boulakai. If you're dealing with oppressor, then yes. If you're dealing with a corrupt system, then yes, there's going to be a time when you have to burn down the house and cut off their heads. And oftentimes, we have people who often assume that we're just the opposite of whites and we're not necessarily violent or we're just peaceful. No, if you understand our ancient past, even in ancient Kemet, there are times where we had to crack the heads of our enemies or our foreign enemies.
I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of times when you hear people speak about African history, it's presented as some utopia oasis where there was no conflict, there was no violence, everyone was living good in peace. And I don't know how that's possible to sustain a society, an empire. And that's the thing. And there's a narrative I hear is that, yes, white people have a history of violence. But black people, it's like we don't even deal with violence. Now, the approach to violence may be different. And the utilization of that violence may be different. But you still need violence to maintain your empire. And I think that we've been beaten over the head so much with, I don't know if it's the Christianity. Because I really been reevaluating morality. I really have been like really struggling with it myself. Of the idea I have of morality. Just the concept of morality itself, especially the idea I have internalized about morality and how it's been influenced by, obviously, Christianity, being a black person in America. And I'm still trying to figure that out.
It's interesting. I saw an interesting presentation by ASCAT that included my brother, Dr. Ukanini Tawadoro and Obemfo Obedele Kabon, who teaches at the University of Ghana. And they tell an ancient story dealing with the Hyksos, also known as the Amu, which are foreign Eurasian desert dwellers or foreigners, and how they came into Kemet. First, they came as friends, seeking assistance and shelter, and then later they conquer a territory, sack temples, and occupy more land. And what's interesting is how they dealt with those foreigners or their enemies, because what you said is absolutely correct. When you look at the primary sources, they had a way of how they labeled those who knew they were black, those who might be allies, but also those who are our enemies. And I think that context is important because once again, you're dealing with power relationships. Oftentimes, we have to understand when you're dealing with a superpower or a nation, you're also going to have power dynamics with how you're going to treat certain groups. And oftentimes, people assume that, yes, that everything's a utopia, but that's not reality. When you look at reality, things aren't always sweet. And oftentimes, they understood how to deal with their enemies. There are tenets and there are documents of how they documented how they deal with their enemies. So once again, these are lessons that we can utilize even today. But if we don't understand those stories, such as the Amu or the Hyksos, then we won't have those examples.